Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Wednesday, and all of our guests today, and there have been a lot of them, including John Shannon, who's standing by, brought to you by the Vancouver Canadians. The Seas are on the road in Everett this week. They kick off their next homestand next Tuesday, 7:05 p.m. Get your tickets, CanadiansBaseball.com, or call 604-872-5232. A lot of twos in there. Joining us now from the 100% Hockey Podcast, John Shannon, is the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Stanley Cup playoffs, John, they continue tonight. How are you?
Living the dream. Are you kidding me? Last two nights have been great, haven't they?
Yeah. Well, in particular, the night 2 nights ago with the 4 one-goal games and the 2 overtime games, just absolutely tremendous. We're missing playoffs here in Vancouver. Now, speaking of which, Vancouver, Rick Tocchet, what do you think the chances are of, I'm not asking necessarily for a number, but just what you've heard, him sticking around in Vancouver or leaving Vancouver?
50-50. So I'll give you a number.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's pretty obvious that the Canucks want him back. They're talking about the highest paid coach in Canucks history, more than Phil Maloney ever made, Donnie. And yet they were able to come to a situation where they didn't exercise the option because they want people to be there. They want people to be part of the solution. And so we'll just have to wait and see. It certainly sounded like we would know by the end of the week.
Phil Maloney, if I'm not mistaken, the first head coach, and a great Western Hockey League Canuck, the first Canucks head coach to take them to the playoffs.
Yep.
Back in the
1975 against the Montreal Canadiens. You're right.
Best of three.
There you go. 6 NHL coaching vacancies right now, not including Vancouver, of course, pending. Seattle, Boston, Philadelphia, Chicago, Rangers, Anaheim. Would Chicago be the most attractive for a head coach because of Connor Bedard and all the youth and all the draft picks in that organization?
That is a really good question.
Thank you.
I tell you what, Anaheim has a great crop of young players. If you want to coach without pressure in the suburbs, Anaheim might be a great place to coach. If you want the limelight and lots of money, you might want to go to Broadway and Madison Square Garden. If you want to be in a hotbed of hockey with a fan base that adores the game and adores the franchise, you might want to go to Boston or Philadelphia. I think there's a level of attractiveness and logic in signing with any of the 6. Chicago, deep pockets. They know they have to make a difference now. In many ways, they have to find a way to help Connor Bedard get over this second-year hump that he had a difficult time with. Mm-hmm. So, Chicago is a hugely attractive job. The question, and we saw this with Greg Cronin in Anaheim, Donnie. Mm-hmm. There was no way Greg Cronin was going to get this team to be a playoff team. Just not in their maturation. So you knew that he had a finite time limit on his job, 2 years. The question becomes, in Chicago, with the rebuild starting, there's still a lot of work to do. Does this coach have the ability to get the team to the playoffs before he gets let go? And I think that would be a difficult proposition. So to me, when you look at teams that could possibly make the playoffs quicker, I think you put the Rangers at the top of the list with the quality of players they have. If that's the way you want to measure success, and that is getting to the playoffs and potentially winning a Stanley Cup.
John, Jim Rutherford, Patrik, Allvin, the presser, we haven't talked to you about it, and Jim got in hot water. Well, not with the NHL.
He didn't get it. He didn't get it.
I know. I reported yesterday the NHL is not going to get it. But he said something that, irked some people. I don't think the Devils were happy about it, John. But what I was going to ask you about was Rutherford, Allvin, the presser. What did you glean out of that about the changes this summer?
Well, I'm one of those people that always believes anytime Jim speaks, he has choreographed everything. He understands what he's saying every time. There's no slip of the tongue with Jim Rutherford. I think there was a level of transparency from both of them that told everybody how urgent things are, but that they're confident they can fix it. I think they're preparing the fan base for some tough times coming up, whether it be just through the summer. The whole concept of what Elias Pettersson is going through is something that people needed to know. So in many ways, I think the press conference was a positive, because I think the fan base now, they may not like what they heard, but at least they heard it. And I think that's a positive when you talk about the Canucks. Jimmy's a smart guy. Rick, you know Jim. He does not say anything out of turn. He knew that he would go in the New Jersey situation to a certain point and not cross it. And that's exactly what he did. Yeah. You know, I think the message between the Tocchet situation with the contract and the Quinn Hughes situation with the contract 2 years from now has set a timetable that they have to find a way to fix this thing and get things better off for a player like Quinn Hughes before he re-signs in Vancouver.
Absolutely. Lou Lamoriello out with the Islanders. Some people were caught off guard. Some were not. Some saw it coming. Ownership there. They want that ship turned around. Your thoughts on Lou out on the island?
Well, I have a bias. I'm a huge Lou Lamoriello fan. Lou and I have had a great relationship professionally for years and years, from his days back in New Jersey. His first Stanley Cup was my first year as executive producer of Hockey Night in Canada, and we have been friends ever since. So it's sad to see anybody of any age lose their job. He has had a great career. As somebody from the league told me this morning, it's always great to be able to leave of your own volition, and he did not. They do want a change of philosophy there. I think there has been a change in ownership on the island that would indicate that they want a much more modern approach, and that is their prerogative as owners. So his contract was not renewed. It's too bad, but you never know where Lou's going to show up next. He came to the island, and both of you guys saw this. He came to the island to create stability. And he created a ton of stability within the organization with a brand new building. They rebuilt the fan base there, and perhaps ownership felt it was just time in order to get to the next level, they needed to have a new voice in management.
Who's out there, John? Who are they thinking as a replacement there? Do you have any idea?
Well, maybe they don't have to look too far. Do you put Patrik Waugh on the list, Donnie?
No.
I mean, remember, he left Colorado because he didn't get the say in player personnel that he was expected to, and then went back to Quebec in the queue. So you have to put Patrik Waugh on the list. I think there's some obvious ones. You have to put a guy like Kenny Holland on the list.
Yep.
But there are others that I think that will probably deserve some attention. And here's the other thing. You don't really have to rush into it today, because you never know who's going to become available in the weeks and maybe a month to come. Because, as you know, if a team doesn't get past the first round of the playoffs, there's a possibility they might need a new job.
One more. I thought the Senators were the better team last night, but sticking with the NHL playoffs, you're Mr. Television. We understand. I know it's very early. NHL ratings are down. Is that all about no New York teams, no Boston, no Chicago, John? In the States, we're talking.
The ratings are down in the United States. Yeah, I think they're probably up in Canada.
Yeah.
I think that the other thing is, yes, you're right. I think without, Boston, New York, Detroit, Chicago, I think that does affect things. Here's the other thing. this is really the first time direct competition in the first round in the United States with the NBA playoffs. You know, so like, I mean, I'm a sportsaholic, so I'm sitting at home, and if I've got 2 hockey games on, I've got 2 basketball games on too. And so that's usually the NBA starts in their playoffs 10 days after hockey. But because of scheduling situations and you know, the Four Nations face-off, hockey's a little later than normal. And I think that when you're competing directly for eyeballs between the NBA and the NHL, and the NBA has 30 or 29 teams in the United States, and hockey's got 25, there's a good chance that you're going to have more eyeballs on basketball than they are on hockey.
Sounds like you got quite the man cave.
Yeah, no kidding.
Thanks for this, John.
Well, you're welcome. I would invite Rick over when he comes to Toronto, but he's usually having breakfast with Elliot.
Hey,
So
book it.
He wouldn't have time to come over and look at what's going on in the basement.
I'm in Toronto this summer. Book it. Book it.
Done deal. Invite him to the man cave.
I will believe it when I see it. We'd cater. We would cater. I call it the office, by the way. We would cater to the office.
I'm by the airport. Book it. 10 a.m. 10 a.m.
I'm close to the airport too. Right?
There you go. It's a done deal. Beautiful.
Done.
Fantastic.
Yeah, sure. But I'm going to see it on Twitter. Breakfast with Elliot. There it is. I'm going to see it.
No, you won't.
And you know what? I'm going to come out to Vancouver, and Donnie and I will go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
All 3 of us will go. All 3 of us.
No, just John and I. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for this, John. Appreciate
Cheers,
it.
boys.